The free agents have signed, the suspensions have been handed out, and the players are back at camp. USA Today projected all 256 regular season games and predicted how the NFL season would end. USA Today Sports is predicting rematches in both the AFC and NFC championship games, with the Colts beating the Patriots and the Packers beating the Seahawks because they'll have home field advantage this season. They predicted the Packers to beat the Colts in the Super Bowl. Skip Bayless, how about them apples? What do you think of this prediction?
I think they're rotten apples. I think, Molly and Stephen A., that as much as I like and respect Nate Davis's work on the National Football League, as much as I liked how far out onto the limb that he went this early with his Super Bowl picks, it was a little too cute and too neat for me that he's just doing a reversal of fortune, as Molly points out, on home field. He's got the two rematches, AFC, NFC championship games, except this time it's going to be Patriots at Colts, and this time it's going to be Seattle at Green Bay. So this time Green Bay advances, and this time Indy advances. It's just a little too neat and cubbyhole for me, and I disagree with that on a couple of counts. I don't disagree, Stephen A., that because these schedules are so easy for the Packers and especially for the Colts, I do not disagree that they're going to be the two teams to beat going into the playoffs. I believe both will be the number one seeds because I look at your man Aaron Rodgers' schedule, and I'm sorry, I just don't see anybody really beating them. I'll go 15-1 on Green Bay. Maybe they lose at Denver. I don't know. Maybe it'd be a little dicey at Arizona on December 27th. I don't know. They do get Dallas up there again. I've told you before, I believe Dallas will get revenge. I'm not sure which game it's going to be, but if I have to pick a game, I'm picking that Dallas is going to get revenge in a playoff game at Green Bay, because as we all know, that was a catch. And you want to talk about momentum and motivation to get even by getting back to Lambeau Field and righting that wrong. This is the year I believe Dallas will do just that by winning the NFC East and winding up. Who knows how it'll play out in the playoffs, but let's say it's the NFC Championship game this time at Lambeau Field. I believe that Tony Romo to Dez Bryant will ultimately beat Aaron Rodgers in his house. And on the other side of the bracket, I look at the Colts and I say, man, what an easy schedule. They'll cakewalk through their division. They do open at Buffalo, which could be a little dicey maybe. They have to go to Pittsburgh later. They have to go to Miami. Okay, maybe they lose a couple of games, but they're going to go 15-2. So they're going to have home field advantage. So let's say they do have the AFC Championship game at home. I'm on record as saying this is going to be another year that is going to belong to Tom Brady. He is going to be on a revenge mission, a vengeance mission, just like 2007. This will be the year. Let's say that the suspension gets upheld in court. I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, I'd like to see it completely erased. But let's say Brady misses the first 4 games. You want to talk about coming back with a vengeance? I'm already on record. They'd go, 1-3 in the first 4 games, and then they would go on an incredible roll, finish losing only 1 more game. And I believe that even if they have to go to Indy, where they have owned the Colts there also, as we saw in that Sunday night game, they play their Sunday night again this year, I believe that Tom Brady would beat Andrew Luck head-to-head. I don't care whether it's at Foxborough or in Indianapolis. I believe Tom Brady is going back to the Super Bowl. Thanks in part to Roger Goodell for really, really punching him right in the mouth here and jump-starting a repeat year for the New England Patriots. So I've still got New England, Dallas in the Super Bowl.
Well, you could believe that. I'm no surprise. No surprise there, being that you're just addicted to your people, and that's fine. I I see Seattle going to the Super Bowl. I've been on the record saying that, although we reserve the right to change our mind. But I don't have a problem with Green Bay. I'm certainly not picking Dallas. Seattle and Green Bay are ahead of Dallas in my mind. So let's get that out of the way right now. There's no way in hell I'm picking Dallas to go to the Super Bowl. I won't do it, all right? But I will tell you this. It is plausible that Green Bay can end up going there, Skip Bayless, because as I'm looking at their schedule right here, I could see Green Bay going 13-3. I don't see 15-1. I think they'll lose one of the games to Detroit, whether home or away. I think they'll lose at Denver, and I think that they might lose at Arizona, the second to last game of the season. So I look at it from that perspective. I can see them going 13-3. Now, should 13-3 be good enough to get home field advantage? I can see Green Bay beating Seattle at Lambeau Field, although I reserve the right to wait to see when that happens, if that happens, to decide who I would pick to win that game. But conceivably, Green Bay could win that game, okay? Because then you take into the revenge factor for the NFC Championship game. So I got that in the NFC. When I think about the AFC, I know you're thinking about your New England Patriots because you're thinking about Tom Brady. Think about how fired up they are. I get all of that. I understand. And maybe Jonas Gray is going to help Tom Brady out of that backfield. Maybe Gronkowski will stay healthy. Maybe Amendola and Julian Edelman will be able to stay in the games throughout the season instead of one or the other suffering from concussions. I understand all of that. But I also look at the fact that Ridley and Vereen are gone, both to New York teams, respectively, the Jets and the Giants. Then I look at on the defensive side of the ball, Wolford, gone. Revis, gone. Browner, gone. Arrington, gone. And I just look at their defense, and I think that they're a bit decimated. So they've got to start over. Now, is that going to be enough to prevent them from getting to the postseason? I don't think so, because they do have Tom Brady. But will it be enough to prevent them from going back to the Super Bowl after having to go on the road instead of being in Foxborough? I think that's entirely possible. I think that Indianapolis could end up getting the #1 overall seed in the AFC, rather. And I think that they would have home field advantage. And I think that could secure them a trip to the Super Bowl, or at least a victory over New England, who's beaten them by an average of 29 points in their 4 meetings over the last 3 years, who's averaged about 47 points in that span. I mean, I look at New England, and they have just had their way with Indianapolis to such a degree, just shellacking and beating them down, that I think that Indianapolis is tired of getting beat up on. I don't think Frank Gore is going to stand for it. I don't think Andre Johnson is going to team with T.Y. Hilton and those boys to allow it. And I think that the defense will elevate at least to a respectable status, to the point where they'll be able to maintain competitiveness and put the offense in a position to win the game for them. Pittsburgh and teams like that, or teams, to me, it's not even about Denver. I think about the 3 formidable threats to New England being Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore. Not necessarily in that order between Baltimore and Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh will be third on the list. But I'm going to give Indianapolis the edge, and I think that Indianapolis going to the Super Bowl to meet Seattle is definitely likely, but it's possible it could be Green Bay. It ain't going to be Dallas.
So the fact that Nate Davis did pick Green Bay to not only get to, but to win the Super Bowl, didn't that tug on your heartstrings a little bit and make you second-guess your Seattle pick, Mr. Aaron Rodgers fan that you are?
It didn't make me second-guess it, because I got to wait to see what Green Bay does during the regular season to get home field advantage. I don't believe that they would beat Seattle if they have to go through Seattle, but I do think they could beat Seattle if they had to go through Lambeau Field.
Final point. Nate Davis made one fatal mistake. He picked my Dallas Cowboys to finish 8-8 out of the playoffs. That will not happen. They will win the NFC East. Thank you very much. End of discussion.
I agree. They will be better than 8-8 without question.
Thank you.
Just for argument's sake here, up next we're going back to the Eagles. So in this article, they say the Eagles are going to finish up 10-6, first in the NFC East, and lose to the Vikings in the wild card, first in the NFC East. Can that happen if Chip Kelly can't connect with some of his players? Do the Eagles have a long-term problem on their hands? It's all everybody's talking about. We're discussing it after the break, how it goes on the field.